Okay, a phrase that we've been using a lot to talk about what our company does for business owners and leaders is we help leaders build a healthy, growing, profitable business that isn't dependent on the owner to make a positive impact. We have spent a lot of time just in the past 24 hours really unpacking the value that's embedded in that as an ideal and as a goal. And in so many ways, sometimes, man, our aim obviously has massive ramifications for the actions that we take. And so if we have a worthwhile aim, it's pretty amazing how we start to take worthwhile actions. And so what I thought would be really, really helpful for the purposes of this episode is if that is your aim and you hear that and you hear like you've got a level of like emotional oomph associated with like, yeah, that is what I want. It's really critical that you understand what that actually is and what that actually means. And so I think the purposes of this 25 minutes is to expand people's vision for what that goal is, to help leaders build a healthy, growing, profitable business that isn't dependent on the owner to make a positive impact. So with that, I want to start with to build. Y'all, in so many ways, help leaders build. I'll never forget one time I taught a full day lesson and we had a lot of people sign up on the back end of that to implement the principles we taught in a one-on-one coaching relationship. And I was texting you, Kyle, on the backside of that. I said, man, dude, you're getting some one-on-one and even two-on-one customers out of this. Praise God, that's awesome. And I'll never forget your reply to me. You said, now the dirty work begins. And that's what building is, right? It's dirty work. So let's set people's expectations. Like, why is that word build so important to frame this goal and frame this conversation?
Well, I mean, the analogy of building, like what does that entail? Well, it entails a foundation. It entails framing, putting up siding, filling in insulation, the electrical, the plumbing, and in all of these things, if one aspect of building goes wrong, the frame is not square, the plumbing has leaks, the electrical is not connected. Like you need a full, total, successful, effective build in order to have the structure do what you intend it to do. Mm-hmm. And so building takes a lot of pieces and puts them together to accomplish some sort of goal. And so what we're doing is saying, you know, in some cases, let's go in and evaluate, are the parts of the structure you have in place actually going to stand the test of time? Mm-hmm. Or what are you missing from this building in order for it to be effective and be fruitful, growing, profitable, not dependent on you? The building analogy is so good because it takes a lot of different skills. You need a plumber, you need an electrician, you need to understand these different systems and aspects, how they go together. You need a plan, you need an architect that says this is what it looks like. And so what are we doing? We're helping people take all of these disparate materials and competencies and put them together that's ultimately serves a customer and accomplishes a mission.
Yeah. Kyle, I have a very particular question for you on this because you have a background in building, right? You have a background in construction. People that are seasoned or veterans in construction and building, like what are the things that they just know when they get into a building project that amateurs just don't understand?
Yeah, they actually a really good question, Alex.
Actually, Kyle always says actually when he comments on my questions. Come on, man.
They know that there's a process. So an amateur or even a homeowner who says, I want a house, thinks that it's really, really complicated, that there's so many of these pieces that feel overwhelming, or I don't even know where to begin. But someone who builds is like, okay, you first start here, then you do this, then you do that. Now we're all of a sudden framed. Now we do this, and now we're on to the finished materials. And then now it's time to move in. And so while it's something that is complicated, there are many different aspects to it. At the end of the day, it's a process.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like there's something to me. I think this is true in the physical act of building. I know it's true in the act of building a business, is like the people who, from my perspective, succeed long-term are not the ones who say, this is going to go exactly according to my plan. It's the people that know, man, if I don't have a plan, I don't have a shot. And the chances that this goes according to plan, according to budget, according to timeline are like less than zero almost. I guess that probably does many things for you, but one of the things it does is it just means that you're not blindsided whenever you end up having to deviate from the plan. Yeah.
The plan is something that comes with it, an expectation.
Mm.
And so oftentimes when this plan goes wrong, or when the plan encounters a new circumstance, it's something that you go, oh no, do I need to revisit the plan? Like, is the whole plan? Oh no, there's probably just a step or two that you need to adjust. There might be a course correction. But if you have a well-established plan, what you've done is you've thought through things in advance. You've sat down, you've thought critically about it. And now, was it Eisenhower? Plans are worthless. Planning is essential.
I love how he asked, like we're actually like, oh yeah, that was definitely Eisenhower that said that.
It was Kyle Gimmer.
But it's like the planning is what matters. The planning then created a plan. The circumstances adjusted the plan, but we've already done the planning, so we can now adjust to those circumstances. And that's something that like we help people do, is to say, oh, there was a plan. We come into a coaching call. Didn't go to plan. Well, we've already gone through all the context. We've walked through what winning looks like. We know what we're building. So what do we need to adjust? What did we already learn? What have we already pre-decided that allows us to go and take another step?
Yeah. The goal. What is the goal? It's to build a healthy, growing, profitable business that isn't dependent on the owner to make a positive impact. So the next word is healthy. This is actually a question that I've gotten a lot over the past several years, because as a kind of overarching principle that we've taught from the very beginning in this company, we always say health and growth are not the same thing, to which everyone follows up and asks, like, okay, how do you know if you're practicing healthy growth? What does healthy actually look like? From y'all's perspective, think about the leaders, the business owners that you are in day-to-day one-on-one conversations with, and think about those that are really, really healthy, and then think about the leaders that you've coincided with that it's like, man, them and their business are not operating from a posture of health. What's the litmus test? What do we look for to say, oh, that's what healthy is?
We could probably spend 5 podcasts on healthy. I think in general, the working like framework that I am operating here with when I think about healthy is healthy leader, healthy team, healthy culture. And man, there's a structure and in kind of what that looks like with mission, vision, values, role clarity, all of these different things. But really, essentially, it's like, man, do we have a healthy leader, someone who is operating? If you looked at that person and their marriage and their life and their leadership and in the business, are they operating in a healthy way? Do we have a team that is healthy? Do we have people who are bought into what we're doing? Do we have people who are collaborating and working well together to accomplish a desired and a shared outcome? And then do we have a healthy culture? Like, do we have shared values in what we're trying to, that we're aligned in, that we're collaborating on, and that we're working towards? And so healthy leader, healthy team, healthy culture.
Yeah. Health often comes to mind. How are you engaging with the metrics that if they were off, you'd go, there's a problem? And so, I love the idea of healthy leader, healthy leadership team, healthy culture, because if any one of these 3 things has some sort of chronic issue, then you're going to struggle to do the next things in our list, because then it's going to be either all dependent on you, or it's going to maybe head in the wrong direction, or you're going to grow the problem because you're exacerbating this issue or symptom. And so I think about a checkup, a doctor's visit of like, hey, what are the 5 or 6 things that when I go to my primary care and I do my blood work, and she looks at me and says, hey, this is improving. This is outside of range, but it's okay. Like, here's some small things you can do to adjust. Here's a big problem, right? So when we're talking about healthy, it is both the absence of big problems, while also the small maintenance things that we're going, okay, yeah, it's not, our culture's not perfect, our leadership team's not perfect, I'm not perfect, but I'm close to her in range, and I'm trending back towards a
growing.
Yeah, like when I'm a healthy guy, generally speaking, I'm a healthy guy, but I get sick on occasion. That's okay. It's the absence of those chronic things, constantly getting sick. having an issue that doesn't ever heal. Like a healthy culture is, or a healthy leader or a healthy leadership team is something that, it's not perfect, but it's consistently returning to a baseline of effective.
Yeah.
Hey, I hope you're getting value from this episode. I want to let you know that every week I put my best and clearest, most distilled thinking into one email. We call it Worth It Wednesday. Every Wednesday we spend a whole host of leaders a principle worth learning, a question worth answering, and a recommendation worth taking, all focused on you practicing healthy growth in your business, leadership, and life. If you want to get on this email list, you can click the link below to sign up. Let's go.
And I love this because what we're really doing here is that we are, this is a bold thing to do. Most people will not do this. They will make winning very myopic. And that myopic definition of winning is, the most myopic or shallow is top line revenue. And you can say, okay, how's the organization doing? The organization is doing great. We just had our best year ever. And you dig into what is best year ever. And they say, oh, well, our top line revenue, best it's ever been. And it's like, that's awesome. That is not a statement about health at all, right? I know a lot of people that have tripled top line revenue. And from a health perspective, they're the worst they've ever been. But at the same time, I think the conversation around organizational health can be avoided or even degraded just because it feels so fluffy and it feels soft in some ways. What are some actual hard metrics or even hard experiential things that leadership put their eyes on to say, where are we at from a health perspective as a business?
I think from a hard metrics perspective, the first thing I'd start with is a leadership team.
Yeah.
Do we have established roles of people responsible for the various functions of the business with decision authority, sharing the load of growth and health of the business?
Mm-hmm.
And so, okay, evaluate, do I have leaders that are excelling in their roles, that are aligned with mission, that have decision responsibility, that are enacting plans of health and growth?
Yeah.
If you evaluate those statements and you're like, well, I have some leaders, but it doesn't represent all aspects of the business. Or I have some folks who they're representing the org, but they don't really have a decision authority. I make the ultimate decision. You start going through what a leadership team is and does, and you go, are these things true? You're going to be able to say, yes, the business is going to be able to go someplace with the right folks to take you there or to assist you to go with you.
I think to that point too, team member retention and customer retention. I was going to say depending on the type of business, but I actually think that's any business. Team member, customer retention, customer satisfaction, all of that can be indicators, and they're typically lagging indicators of health as well. And really, some questions to ask are you becoming more of the leader that you were created to be? Is your business becoming more of the business that it was created to be? And do you have the structure to keep you where your growth is taking you? Or is the thing that's causing the growth your personality? Because your personality is not going to sustain the growth. And it's certainly not going to it's not going to be, move on at an infinite rate. There's limitations to your personality. Kyle, anything else you would add on the health arena of the goal that we're talking about here?
Yeah, I think to maybe summarize even some of what I heard you guys do and maybe simple and actionable for someone who's listening to this under the umbrellas of healthy leader, healthy team, healthy culture is and let's even take a leadership team like Matt was saying is what does success look like for you in this season as a leader? And how am I doing according to that standard? What does success look like for our leadership team? I think you could look at that in a couple different ways. Number one, what is the role of the individuals on the leadership team, and are they trending towards green? And what is our effectiveness as a leadership team and our ability to do effective work consistently over time? And that would show itself practically in, are we able to, as a leadership team, commit to things on a quarterly basis and consistently execute on those things? If your leadership team individually is trending towards green in their role, and then you guys collectively are effectively executing priorities, I would say that's generally very easy to measure, but also would represent health. And then as a culture is, man, what are the things that we care about? What are the shared values that we have? What are the shared goals that we're after? And collectively as a team and collectively as a culture, like how are we doing in regards to those things?
And are we living those things?
Yes.
Or are we just saying those things? Yeah.
Which hard metrics, I now that you say that, I'm like, oh wait, how would you hard metric culture? Well, you could measure how many people have our core values memorized.
Mhm.
Well, here's a hard metric. Do you have core values? Here's a hard metric. Do you have a mission statement?
Yeah.
That's red or green, right?
Mhm.
But then how many have memorized? Or, I've got a customer that's got a core values program where they hand out core values or shout out core values. How many shout outs have gone into Slack? There's so many good AI tools for scraping your whatever your chat feature is, your communication tool. Be like, how many times are these mentioned? How many times are people shouted out? It doesn't always have to be a percent, but sometimes it can just be like, do we see instances of?
Yeah. And those things are all indicators too. It's not like, okay, this is the end all be all metric of health, but it's an indicator. Yep. Okay, let's go to growing now. When a business is growing and we look at it and we say, that is good growth, what informs it being good?
If I were to even look at myself individually as like, what would represent me being a good coach? Because I am like, we have a business where we're coaching. What represents good coaching or healthy growth in that is, do we have a predictable and repeatable way to get the attention of people who need our services, number one? Then number two, like, am I delivering the value that we said we were going to deliver? And then number three, are people staying around consistently as that value is being delivered? And naturally, if those functions are in place, there's going to be growth because we're getting people's attention. We are doing what we said we were going to do to a level where people trust us to continue to work with us, and then more people show up as well. And so I think as you do that over time, that represents, I have a healthy roster, I'm a healthy coach, and because of that, I'm continuing to grow because of other functions in the business.
Yeah, yeah. So underneath what you just said, I think there's something really powerful that is helpful for every business owner and leader to understand is like, we've got to examine our motives. Like if you want to grow your business or if you want to grow your roster or grow your department, if you want to pursue growth, what are the motives that we would look at and we'd say, that's a good motive versus what are motives that we say, man, that's a faulty motive that's ultimately going to be fruitless?
A good motive is to do something worthwhile, effectively and efficiently. To solve a problem that is worth solving. And so well, that's a little ethereal or what's the mind word? Theoretical. Like when we're talking about growing, most of us start a business saying this thing needs to exist. This problem needs to be solved. And so what do we want to do? We want to make sure that if we are solving the problem well, we're solving as many of the people, we're helping as many people who have that problem solve the problem.
Yeah.
And so, hey, are we having an impact? Are we having an impact effectively? Like is revenue per head count going up while at the same time customer satisfaction is going up or the number of customers reached going up? God put Adam and Eve in the garden and gave them work to do, to grow, to cultivate, to be fruitful and multiply. That idea is like, okay, there are things to do. Are we doing them at greater and greater scale at a reasonable level of efficiency? Are we solving the problem the most efficiently effective way possible? And people benefiting from that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I would add to that is like this is where some of like the theoretical things become very practical. If I were to look at motives for me in coaching is one, it's clear what success looks like. For us, what we would say is like a leader is healthy, satisfied, and on the path. And like we have a standard for that. So that's really clear to me. So that's a motive for how I execute within my role. The biggest motive is the mission. I want to do this because I want to help impact-driven leaders step in who they're created to be so that others benefit and God is glorified. Like that is why I am motivated to continue to serve and act in the best interest of the people I serve so that they step into that. And then the final thing is like the motives in so many ways are defined by our values.
Mm.
And that gives me a lot of clarity and confidence in how I can execute within that, which is in a lot of ways motive. Like I can point to Jesus. I need to operate within alignment. There is freedom and responsibility. Strength is for service, and treat people like friends. And it's like, treat people like friends, like that is a motive. Strength is for service, that is a motive. Like, where am I strong and how am I serving people within that strength? These people are people that I care about, and I want to treat them like a friend. So I'm going to bend over backwards in the way. And I think that will produce growth. And so role clarity, standards, mission, and values, I think in so many ways can inform the motives of every person in an organization.
Yeah.
You built this business to make an impact, but now the business needs you everywhere. Every decision, every approval, every fire. The business grew, so did your stress. Healthy growth creates capacity, so the business can carry more without bottlenecking through you. We built the 12 Fundamentals assessment so that you can see what's strong, where the business has real momentum, and what's strained in your business and leadership. Not only that, it'll even point you towards the next right step. Take the free assessment at 12fundamentals.com.
I was really interested to hear how y'all respond to this, because in some ways, I think I maybe have had a front row seat to seeing, man, some of the most miserable people I know are the most goal-oriented people that I know, right? And they just are so obsessed with the goal of growth that, man, they just become stress balls, walking stress balls, and they're not enjoying their life. And they've kind of bought into this idea that, oh, enjoyment is in the destination. And we all know that's a sham, right? That's false. Because the destination almost always looks like the path that informed it. And if you're miserable in the path, you're probably going to be ultra miserable in the destination. So I think that if I'm not careful, I look at that and I say, well, that means, if you look at that path, that means all growth results in that. And that means growth is bad, right? Which is a problem if you own a company called Path for Growth, right? And so it's like, okay, does that mean we shouldn't have goals? I don't think so. Does it mean we shouldn't have desires? I don't think so, because I have seen the fruitfulness primarily in terms of focus that goals, desires, stated preferences, expectations, vision, all of that provides for a team of people. So then what makes growth good? Man, y'all have kind of already articulated some of these things, but there's 3 things I have been thinking about a lot with regard to our business recently. Number one is like, I have been reoriented recently through a series of really intense personal conversations with customers of ours that, like, I just have had my eyes reopened to the fact that people really need what our team does. Like, people really need it. And these people are going to get coaching. They are going, it's not like it's like they're going to work with Path for Growth and not going to, they're going to work with someone. And the people they work with, if it's not us, might not have a first core value of point to Jesus, or might not have the value of alignment. They might not be as good as our coaches are in terms of what we do. And so not only do I believe people need what we provide, I believe so much in the way we provide it. And it's like, that's an incredible motivator. People need this, and we provide it with excellence and with a good heart of caring and serving those people. Man, that lights fire under me to pursue growth in some ways. The second motivator that I think kind of ties health and growth together is like, I have been really encouraged recently by the fact that, like, I want our place to be a place where great people don't just have a job, but where great people can build a career. And like, if great people are going to build a career here, what does that mean? Well, it means that we're going to hire people that are great people. That means those great people want to grow. They want to take on new responsibility. They might want to move up in the organization. They might want to get paid more so that they can build a family. Like, all of those things they want to happen. And it's like, I don't want this to be a place where people say, man, that was so great whenever I was single, but now I'm married and there's not an option for me. It's like, no, I want people to have a career here. And it's like, that feels to me like a motivator for growth. And then the final one that has been so motivating for me recently of like, man, that feels like a good reason for growth is like once you reach a spot in business where you've got some profit and also generosity is a priority for you, you start having to reckon with if I want to give money and resources to something, where is that going to go? And one of the things that I found is I just like our team right now. Like I love our team, and like we just spend a ton of time with our team, and I'm like, I love the way our team, is invested in their marriages. I love the way that our team is invested in their parenting. I love the way our team is invested in their community. And it's like, in some ways, there's like, that feels like a great cause to invest in. And I want to continue to be able to pour into those things and think about that as an element of generosity. It's like, I want to foster more of that in the world. And the best way I know to do that, and the most localized way I know to do that, is resource the people that I really, really trust to be doing that in their little corner of the world. And so those are just three areas that I think for me are motives of like, man, growth can be such a good thing, and it's a good thing to pursue. Just make sure your motives are actually aligned with what's right. Okay. The third word is actually probably connected to health and growth in a very specific lens and arena. And the third word is profitable. Profitable as an aim. Why is it so crucial that our goal as impact-driven leaders includes profitability?
Profitability is the fuel of business. It's how you refill your tank to go and do the work that you need to do. The reality is that we need to earn a profit to build up storehouses, to build up a cash reserve, which then we can view that as stored future impact, right? We need to be building it up so that we can weather downtimes when our customers face issues, when there's challenges, we can get through that so that at the other side of that, we can serve customers. So we can accomplish all those things that you just said were great motivators for us to grow. But we can't have that if we're break even or losing money on a regular basis. We have to have profit in order to, one, store up future reserve, store up impact for the next season, and to enjoy our lives. Like for a business owner to profit and take home a reward. I mean, a worker is worth their wage. I mean, ultimately, you can pay yourself as a W-2 employee. That's great. We don't even want to get into that right now. But at the end of the day, like it is good to expect a harvest. It's good to expect a harvest. God expects a harvest from us. We're going to give an account for our effectiveness. And so is it not a good thing to profit from us serving our customers really well? Because that's going to then in turn allow us to invest. You can't invest if you're breaking even. It's not possible because there's no cash there to invest. You've spent what came in. But if you want to invest to grow, especially in a healthy way, to invest in your team, to invest in your product, your processes, working on the business, et cetera, you're going to need profit, which is going to advance the mission and the values of your business.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter how healthy your team is or how pure your motives are if you're not profitable. And I would actually argue that I don't know if you can be a healthy leader, if you can have a healthy team, maybe a healthy culture if you're not profitable.
Certainly not over time. And I think that's, there are a lot of people that pour so much into quote unquote healthy culture and growing their business. But it's like to go back to the building analogy, you didn't lay a foundation. Like you are doing this in a way that the model, like from day one, is unsustainable. And so really it's just a timetable. When's the clock going to run out, right? Because you've bought this incredible office space and you've filled it with all these great people that have all these incredible salaries, and everyone's thrilled to be here until we start laying people off because we don't have a model that can sustain all of that, right? And so I think we do need to pause here for this episode, but I think what I want to call people's attention to here is like, this is building. This is a project you are getting into. Sometimes we use the word goal and we forget that a goal is actually a project. You are opting in for a project if you choose this goal. And this goal has 3 objectives associated with it. And then maybe in the next episode, we'll talk about the aim, which is non-owner dependency and impact. But the objectives, the world will tell you that these objectives are competing with each other. And it will say, if you're going to pursue health, you can't be a growing organization. If you're going to be growing, you can't spend or waste any time on health or profitability, right? And I think what we are deeply passionate about, because we've lived it and we are coaching other people on it actively, and we're seeing it happen, and we're seeing fruitfulness, vitality, and impact come from it, is you can have a healthy organization, that you are becoming more of who you were created to be. Your business is becoming more of what it was created to be. That organization can grow. It can be bigger next year than it is this year. And that's like so cool. Like, you could double over the course of the next several years. That is possible. And you don't have to compromise health to do that. And it can be profitable. Like, man, there can be leftovers for both challenging seasons, but also for opportunity and for being generous and for, reaping the rewards as an owner. Like, those 3 things do not have to compete with each other. They are 3 objectives that actually, if you do it the right way, it becomes a flywheel that they support each other, and ultimately lead to the aim that we're going to talk about in the next episode, which is non-owner dependency and impact. But this is a great first unpacking of those 3 objectives. Remember the goal: to build a healthy, growing, profitable business that isn't dependent on the owner to make a positive impact. Thanks, y'all.
Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. If you want more content like this, we've got some killer stuff planned. So make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. Let's go, let's go, let's go.